Hello, good afternoon on day 78 of our 99 days. Today I want to talk about what true mastery is actually, because the name of this program is Mastering the Art of Living. And you can do mastery at different levels, of course, or you can do mastering at different levels. But true mastery is really getting to the core of it. And I know and experience myself that this last step is actually making all the difference. Otherwise, you keep hanging in the step before, where you kind of feel like you've done so much and it's not changing yet, or it changes a little bit and then you fall back again. It changes a little bit and then you fall back again. And I would love for you to get out of that feeling that you are still not mastering it. So there's a difference between going through ups and downs while you master it and going through ups and downs while you just not master it. So, in other words, if you go to the next level of true mastery, and I'm assuming, of course, that you're not there yet, but I just picked this up from context I get from you, questions I get, conversations I had with you, and some of you. So the difference between going through ups and downs in these two different versions, complete mastery and not just complete mastery, is that life will always show you things that might be unexpected in a way. But the mastery is how you deal with it. That's where the mastery comes in. So we're not here, and I don't believe that life is going to be perfect and never challenging and never limiting you again, or us, or anyone. And actually, we do need limits as a human being. Otherwise, we would not be able to live. There wouldn't be a reason to live. We have this instinct to grow, and we can only grow when there's some friction or when there's something to learn. And friction can be a positive thing. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be a tension. It can also be a friction from going from A to B. And this friction creates curiosity. Like, oh, there's something interesting to know, and I don't know anything about it yet, or not all. So I want to learn. That's also a friction. So where it comes down to with true mastery is that you really, really have to get the nitty-gritty details down. You really have to be so brutally honest with yourself and it only works if you take everything that happens in life, you question that. Why is it happening? What can I learn? What does it show me? Can I change my mindset to this? Every time, every single day, every single moment. And it sounds very tiring. And in the beginning, it is a little, perhaps, especially if you're not used to it. But hopefully it comes naturally. And when it comes more naturally, it comes more effortlessly as well. It just becomes your second nature. And it's not so much about deep self-reflection here. It's more like quickly changing your mindset when you notice that you are unconsciously getting onto an old pattern. So if you notice you like for me, for instance, in these last few weeks, I noticed somehow that the theme of money is coming up. And it comes up in very different ways. Like it comes up in, I have to pay unexpected things. Yesterday, I went to the museum, and I have this museum card, which I pay every year. And I hardly ever use it, actually. So I feel like for years, like I might end this. But then I think the next year, okay, well, I'm going to use it this year, and etc. It never really happened. So yesterday I thought, like, okay, I can use this card, get free entrance there. And then, of course, the card was not valid anymore. It was just 1 or 2 weeks out of date. And probably my new card has been delivered to my old address of my previous house. So at first I got annoyed. And I was like, okay, then I drive back a bit. And I thought, like, well, I'm here already, so let's just pay the entrance fee and enjoy my time here. And that moment, I switched my mindset. I was like, okay, I can stay annoyed here, I can be irritated, or I can just switch it into, okay, I'll pay this. Because the reason why I want to be here is I want to see this exhibition. And then solve the problem with the company later, if it for sure has been delivered wrong, or if it was my mistake that I didn't change my address, or whatever the reason is. But whatever, just don't spoil my day, because the card is not valid. And this is just a very tiny little example of changing things. Another example is like, some of the jobs you have to do, you don't like. It's as simple as that. But why you don't like them is often not clear. Because sometimes you don't like 10% of the job, and 90% is okay. And then you're so fixated on this 10% you don't like that you actually disregard the whole job, the whole thing you have to do. Like, for instance, take my administration. I don't like doing administration because I always let go of it, and then I have to catch up in month 3, and then I have to do everything. But the actual work itself, I don't mind. What actually I don't like is that I cannot find things. So then I get a bit of nervousness within me, like, okay, I haven't organized it well. What if I don't find that paper or that invoice? Then I can't get my taxes right, and blah, 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 and so on. But this nervousness is just 10% of an assumption that I might miss out on something, which is not always the case, of course. It probably happened a few times, and I make it like a truth for my next moment I have to do administration. So what I do literally to change my mindset when I know this administration day is coming up, like really be very clear to myself, okay, what do I don't like? What do I get out of it? What's the benefit when the job is done? Yeah, to feel really good when it's done. I might even get money back from tax, so that's nice for the cash flow. Or I won't get a fine if I fill it in too late, or my accountant is not waiting, or whatever. And it just feels good to have things done. It feels good to have things done. That's for everyone. That's not just for me. I think everyone likes to have a job done. So the fact that it's done is already gives a great feeling at the end of the day. So I changed my mindset from this day of working to admin to what are the good things, what I do like. And I like to be organized, so I don't really mind the job of putting in the things in a spreadsheet or in my admin program and sorting things out. I don't really mind that. So I focus on that and then just start. And then when I can't find something, or when I feel like I'm feeling less energized, then I go to the feeling, but at the end of the day it's done, and then I'm happy. And I focus on that feeling. And it sounds like a trivial change, but I can assure you it's a big change. Because if you repeat this change all over again and again, every time you don't like things that you don't want to do, or things get into your way again and again, then you have to change. Like I said yesterday, if you don't like the view in the mirror, you can't change the mirror, you have to change yourself. So you have to find ways with things that don't feel in flow right now. When things still happen in your life that you don't like, then first of all, look at what you don't like. And then be honest there. What is it actually that I don't like? Why do I perceive it as a problem? Or can I perceive it as an opportunity? Like, I skipped one day, I think it was 2 years ago. I said, I'm never going to approach anything as a problem anymore. It's an opportunity for something. Even my divorce, I did not perceive it as a problem. It doesn't mean it wasn't a painful process. It doesn't mean it was a difficult process. But it was not like a problem that felt like something I could not manage, something that would cause me pain, or something that would cause me a huge challenge. The approach was different. I was more like feeling very open and vulnerable. Okay, this has to happen. And I have to make a decision. And I go through the process and see when the time is right to make that decision. Or a decision could be either way, stay in the marriage or go out of the marriage or leave the marriage. But I refuse to see it as a huge problem in a negative way. It was more like, okay, something is appearing here that needs to be dealt with now. And that doesn't make it less painful, but in a sense it did. Not, of course, to the people around me. But I cannot be responsible for everyone at the same time, at the same moment, in the same process. I mean, everybody has his own process in this. And of course, you have to be very conscious about these decisions, which I was. But it's no use in thinking about all the problems you have caused for others or are causing for others and then not move. Then nobody's moving. And you make even a lot of assumptions what the actual problem is for another. You just don't know. You can only talk about it or find out. And with less bigger challenges than ending a marriage or not, just taking the edge out of that it is a problem that cannot be solved, look at it as an opportunity with solutions. And that's a really mindset change. That is something you just look differently at things. If you want to change your job and that feels as a big hurdle to take, like you don't know what to do, you don't know what is next, and you approach it like, oh my God, I'm not going to do that, or that's the biggest thing in my life, or I don't really believe it can happen, or things like that, then it becomes such a huge mountain to cross that you probably won't make that crossing. So, and then you keep having this mountain in front of you, this problem, and it feels heavy. And because it feels heavy, your frequency around this issue, your vibration around this issue is low. So guess what happens in life? Nothing changes, or you get it reflected back in ways that doesn't make life more flowing at all. So change your mindset first. Change your mindset first. And I like that way of the mindset. That thinking. One of you actually asked me in a coaching session, can I change my mindset around the challenge I have? I thought, like, well, that's a great way to use in daily life to anything that you don't like, anything that doesn't fully resonate, or that feels as a hurdle, or that feels as something that creates tension, or something you don't like to happen anymore, a repetitive pattern, a repetitive process. First, try to change your mindset towards it. Try to let go of everything and then look at it from a distance and see how you can approach it differently. And if you have something you have absolutely no idea how to look at it differently, perhaps ask in this group. Because an outsider who doesn't know you at all might give you a simple handout, a simple idea to look at it differently. And then that little thing might switch a lot, might change a lot. And it really is in these details to make life more flowing. Because in the end, it's all about the action towards what's happening in life. It's not about what's happening in life. I mean, there's so many opportunities, there's so many probabilities, there's so many synchronicities, there's so many things that happen at the same time. You cannot right now be the full creator of every single nanosecond in your life. So you have to become resilient, adaptable to what's happening in life. Because we don't live in a fully awakened world yet. So there is information and challenges and decisions from other people that influence your life. And the key is, how do you deal with it? How do you handle it? How do you think about it? How do you feel about it? How do you take action about it? And can you change that pattern? Can you stop the thought pattern that starts? And if you couldn't stop it, then stop at the feeling. like you feel down, or it makes you feel low. Okay, I'm lower today. What happened actually? Can I recall back what happened recently, why I might feel lower? And then you can change there your mindset or your feeling about it first, and then your thoughts. Your thoughts is the same actually as your mindset. And then you can take a different action. And that's when life will show you, because you take different actions, will show you different things. That's when you in the mirror show something differently towards life, and then life reflects that back. And not immediately in a split second. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you get rewarded immediately. And sometimes it happens later, or it happens gradually. You don't even notice. You might not even notice how much life feels different already after these 78 days together. It sometimes it goes so gradually that you don't even feel you have changed. Because the tricky thing is, or the beautiful thing is actually, it becomes your new nature. And because it becomes your new nature, it feels natural to you. So you cannot imagine how it felt before. So the mind wants proof again, and the mind doesn't get proof. The heart gives a proof, actually. It feels different. I feel more light. I feel more solidness in me. I feel more grounded. I feel more like I have power in a positive way over my life. I'm not just the puppet on a string who's being pulled from left to right. I can give direction to my life. That's the feeling you will get as a proof that life is changing. And then, of course, events will happen that are different eventually. Or today, perhaps, or yesterday, or it has already happened. So we already talked about language and how you react to people in the context of empathy. So what kind of wordings do you use? We've talked about judgment. That's also a different mindset. Just stop judging everyone around you, including yourself, but especially just this automatic way of how we look at people. And we judge them unconsciously, immediately, in one way or the other. And we talked about, what was the other thing? That's mainly actually judgment, language, and now really is also on, we talked about feelings, of course, how your feelings are, how you deal with emotions, how you are unconsciously reacting to things that you're not aware of yet. So we became more aware of that. It's your first reaction. When you are confronted with an emotion that's a bit stronger than the average one. And now this is more about the mindset. So it's about the thoughts. We have talked about the thoughts in stopping the chatter, the story, the narrative. But this is more like an active one. Okay, once you stop the chatter, what then is your new mindset to that thing? How can you open up to new possibilities, to new opportunities? Or how can you at least get into a neutral state? So, okay, I'm not sure what's happening here, but I'm completely open to anything that life will show me. That's already also a very, very pleasant state to be in. And that's different from, oh no, it's happening again, and now I have to react, and I don't know how to react because it will create stress or tension, and I'm so tired of it, and I have to go through this again. Even when the argument or the problem or the discussion or the decisions you have to make seem to be in relationship with another person or related to another person, and you feel a lot of difficulties in that process with ex-partners, for instance, or with parents or other siblings, then sometimes that creates such a tension because, like we talked about in this session about resentment, there's something else also at stake which comes up immediately, which touches you in your core pains. But even if you cannot solve that pain yet, then you can at least change your approach towards that person, and then just surrender to what is needed to be shown there. And of course, you don't have to give in. That's not what I'm talking here, but at least you can get out of your emotion for a moment and then re-strategize almost and think like, okay, what's my mindset here? Can I get into opportunity state? And if that's too difficult, I just try to stay neutral as long as possible. Try to be open, but try to be very clear about my own desires here, or what I wish for this decision or these solutions. And then approach it slightly differently. At least take a little approach, a different approach, sorry. Take a different approach to things you have been used to in the past, to just see if something changes in the way you feel about it, your attitude. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just to end this. So how I deal with this, to end my example, because I didn't finish it. Like these finance things are coming up, and I know why they're coming up, because I feel this urge within me that I really want to set up my business now in such a way that it's going to flow. You know, like I said before, I worked on this for 3 years, and I have a clear path now, a clear direction now, and I'm really eager to get things right. And then this money thing comes in, because it also then, well, it also needs to create money eventually. And so I know why it's showing. I know why it's challenging me. You know, like, okay, are you sure you're not like getting nervous about the money thing, that it might not be successful? Because success is for the most part in the current business just translated in, can you earn something with it? So it's not a big issue for me. I just see it happening because life is just challenging you. When you have your excitement, I've shared this 3-day challenge before, and I might focus a session on this, but just quickly. You have an excitement, you make the first steps, then life in the second phase challenge you, whether it's really your highest excitement, in many different ways. And then the third phase is a confirmation, and then you get into manifestation. So it's a very natural phase to be in for me right now with my business, that this happens. So I'm not worried about it. It's just a nice observation again, how life creates this second phase, actually. Or how I create this phase, obviously, in the end. Anyway, get very clear with yourself. Get very honest with yourself. Be very curious, actually, about you, how you approach things at its detailed level. Anything you don't like today, what's still happening in your life, that's the thing you can look at. That's the thing you can work with. Even if it seems big, then you can make a little step, a little change already. Okay? Well, good luck with this, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.